Very good morning, dear children. Let us start our today's class with a prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Dear children, for today's class, we are going to see the remaining portions in Unit 1 Measurements. In the previous video, we have seen about SI units, SI systems, fundamental units. In that fundamental units, we learnt the definitions of units of length, mass, time and temperature. Also, we have learnt about the rules and conventions for writing SI units and their symbols. So for today's class, we need to learn about vernier caliper and screw gauge, which are used to measure length. In our daily life, we use meter scale for measuring length. They are calibrated in centimeter and millimeter. The smallest length which can be measured by meter scale is called least count. Not only for meter scale, for any other scale, the smallest length that can be measured using that scale is called its least count. So, the one small division in this meter scale is equal to 1 millimeter. I hope you all know about it. We can measure the length of any object using this ordinary scale with an accuracy of 1 millimeter. If the length of that object is less than 1 millimeter, we cannot measure the length of that object accurately. So to rectify that problem, vernier scale and screw gauge will help us. So using vernier scale, we can have an accuracy of 0.1 millimeter, and with screw gauge, we can have an accuracy of 0.01 millimeter. So let's see about the description of vernier caliper. In your textbook, page number 5, section 1.6.1. Figure 1.2 in your textbook shows you about vernier caliper. If you happen to at school, I will show you definitely the vernier caliper. But now, as it is online class, I would like to show you the exact picture of this vernier caliper. So the vernier caliper will be like this. So here you have the parts of the vernier caliper. The vernier caliper consists of a thin long steel scale graduated in centimeter and millimeter called main scale. In the main scale, part number 7 is showing a main scale. Main scale is nothing but your ordinary scale, as it is in the centimeter. In the vernier caliper itself, the main scale will be as ordinary scale. To the left end of the main scale, an upper and lower jaw are fixed. So see here, this is the main scale. So the left end of the main scale, upper and lower jaw is there. It is fixed perpendicular to the bar. Its name is fixed jar. To the right of the fixed jar, a slide with an upper and lower movable jaw is fixed. So this is upper and lower movable jaw. We can move and fix it anywhere on the main scale. The slide can be moved or fixed to any position using a screw. The locking screw is at point number 10. The vernier scale is marked on the slider and it moves along with the movable jaw and the slider. The lower jaws are used to measure the external diameter or dimension of any object. So, for suppose if I need to measure the external diameter of a sphere, I have to fix in that point. And the upper jaws are used to measure the internal diameter of the object. So to find out the internal diameter of the object, I can use the upper jaw. How? If I have a beaker like this, so I have to fix the beaker like this. So I can measure the internal diameter of that beaker using this upper jaw. So what is this? It used to measure the depth of the beaker. So the outer diameter of the beaker can be measured using this lower jaw. The internal diameter of the beaker can be measured using upper jaw, and the depth of the beaker can be measured using this depth bar. In your book they have given us thin bar attached to the right side of the vernier scale. It is used to measure the depth of the hollow object. Okay. So let's move on to the usage of vernier caliper. The first step in using the vernier caliper is to find out the least count and range zero error. So what is a least count? Least count of the vernier caliper, the formula is the value of one main scale division divided by the total number of vernier scale division. What is the value of one main scale division? As I have told you earlier, the main scale is nothing but your ordinary scale. So the value of smallest value of one main scale division is nothing but 1 millimeter. So in the numerator you have to substitute 1 millimeter. Total number of vernier scale division. This yellow color is vernier scale. So the total number of divisions in this vernier scale will be 10. Here 0 to 0 has been shown in this picture. It is indicated wrongly, but 0 to 10 it will be. Okay. So totally 10 divisions are there in the vernier scale. So we have to substitute 10 divisions. Note seriously that in the numerator you have the unit 1 millimeter because it has the unit. In the denominator there is no unit, it shows simply the number of the divisions. So 10 divisions. Least count of the vernier caliper is equal to 1 divided by 10, nothing but 0.1 millimeter. If I would like to express in centimeter, the least count of the vernier scale is 0.01 centimeter. So this is up to least count. So we have to know about zero error. What is zero error? Unscrew the slide and move it to the left such that both the jaws touch each other. Let's see a GIF. Wait a minute girls, I'll show. See girls, two jaws should touch like this. Okay. After that you have to move the jaw and you have to replace the object here. So to find out the zero error, there should be no object in between these two jaws. It should be like this. It should touch each other. When the two jaws touch each other, the zero of the vernier scale should match with the zero of the main scale. If the zero of the main scale and the zero of the vernier scale match each other exactly, then there is no zero error. So to measure the diameter of any object, you have to place that object in between these two jaws like this. Okay. So in these two scales, see figure 1, main scale is in the upper position, vernier scale is in the lower position. Both the zeros should match each other, touch each other. So there is no error. In that condition, it is said to be the scale have zero error, no error. Next, positive zero error. What is positive zero error? In the second figure, you can see that 0 of the vernier scale is shifted to the right of the 0 of the main scale. In this case, the reading will be more than the actual reading. Hence, this error should be corrected. In order to correct this error, find out which vernier division is coinciding with the any of the main scale division. You need not to mind about the number of main scale division, but you have to mind about the vernier scale division. Here in your textbook they have shown the fifth division is matching. I will show some other example. So you just know about what is positive zero error. The positive zero error means 0 of the vernier scale is shifted to the right of the 0 of the main scale. Shifted to the right of the 0 of the main scale. So this 0 shifted to the right of the 0 of the main scale. So this is positive error. Okay. So how can we find out the positive error? So you have to fix the vernier scale, two jars to match each other, but the zeros are not matching. There is a small division, there is a small differentiation between these two zeros. So we have to find out the coinciding vernier scale division. Here 0 0 is not matching. The first division of the vernier scale is not matching. See, the second division is not matching. See the third division. The third division is matching with the main scale. You need not to find out the number of the main scale division. This thing and all we don't need. You just find out the number of the vernier scale divisions alone. That is equal to 3. So how can we calculate the positive error? Coinciding vernier scale division is equal to 3. Zero error is equal to coinciding vernier scale division into least count. The least count in centimeter is 0.01 centimeter. So 3 into 0.01 centimeter is equal to plus 0.03 centimeter. So for positive error you have to mention plus symbol here. So plus symbol shows you the error is positive error. This plus symbol indicates you that the error is positive error. So for zero correction you have to put a minus symbol before that. So you have to put a negative sign before that. So to do zero correction. Okay. Next let's see about negative error. Let's see about negative error. Zero of the vernier scale is shifted to the right of the zero of the main scale is positive error. So what is negative error? The zero of the vernier scale is shifted to the left of the zero of the main scale, means it is negative error. So the obtained reading will be less than the actual reading. To correct this error, we should first find which vernier division is coinciding with any of the main scale division, as we found in the previous case. In this case, you can see the first number 1 is not matching, 2 is not matching, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here the coincidence happens at the reading 8. So 8 is the reading. So what is the calculation? Calculation of negative error is equal to coinciding vernier scale division is equal to 8. Difference is equal to total division minus coinciding vernier scale. 10 minus 8 is equal to 2. So zero error is equal to difference into least count. So the difference is 2 into 0.01 centimeter. The zero error, negative zero error is minus 0.02 centimeter. The minus sign indicates that the error is negative. So for correction we have to add a positive symbol, plus symbol. So plus 0.02 centimeter. Okay. So I hope you all understand about zero error and zero corrections, positive error and negative error. These are all nowadays using vernier caliper, that is digital vernier caliper. We are living in a digital world and the digital versions of the vernier calipers are available nowadays. Digital vernier caliper has a digital display on the slider, so you need not to get confusion with the errors with the reading, with the calculation. So everything is on your hand. Which calculates and displays the measuring value. The user need not manually calculate the least count, zero error, etc. But dear children, everything comes under the control of a machine as a bad symbol. We should use our brain. Okay, we should use our brain properly. We should know the root causes and how these things and all happening. We should know. For example, if you are learning maths, you need not to simply memorize a squared plus b squared is equal to a plus b the whole squared is equal to a squared plus b squared plus 2ab. You just memorize everything, but please don't memorize. You find out how that formula is obtained. In mathematical itself, you need to find out the history. You need to know the history, how that formula is obtained. Okay, so try to sharpen your brain now and then by asking the question how. Don't depend upon the machines completely. Now let's move on to screw gauge. This is screw gauge, section 1.7, page number 7 in your textbook. Screw gauge is an instrument that can measure the diameter up to 1 by 100th of the millimeter or 0.01 millimeter. With a screw gauge, it is possible to measure the diameter of a thin wire and thickness of thin metallic plate. So what is the description of a screw gauge? The screw gauge consists of a U-shaped metal frame as shown in the figure. A hollow cylinder is attached to one end of the frame. Grooves are cut on the inner surface of the cylinder through which a screw passes. On the cylinder parallel to the axis of the screw, there is a scale which is graduated in millimeter. So there is a scale as they have shown in that. Main scale reading is there, circular scale reading is there. So in the inside that there are screws. Okay. One end of the screw is attached to a sleeve. The head of the sleeve is divided into 100 divisions. That is circular scale. Okay. And it is called the head scale. Here in your picture, name is circular scale. Actually, the name of that is head scale. The end of the screw has a plane surface, that is nothing but spindle, as in the figure. A stud is attached to the other end of the frame, just opposite to the tip of the screw. The screw head is provided with a ratchet arrangement to prevent the user from exerting undue pressure using the screw gauge. The screw gauge works on the principle that when a screw rotated in a nut, the distance moved by the tip of the screw is directly proportional to the number of rotation. This is the principle of screw gauge. So pitch of the screw is the distance moved by the tip of the screw for one complete rotation of the head. It is equal to 1 millimeter in typical screw gauges. There are less than 1 millimeter screw gauges are there. Pitch of the screw is equal to distance moved by the pitch divided by number of rotations. So here is the least count. Least count of the screw gauge is 0.01 millimeter. How we obtain? Least count of the instrument is equal to value of one smaller pitch scale reading, that is nothing but 1 millimeter, divided by total of head scale division. The total of head scale division is nothing but 100. So 1 divided by 100 is equal to 0.01 millimeter. If I want to express in centimeter, that will be equal to 0.001 centimeter. So I need to move on to zero error of a screw gauge. So for that, when the movable stud of the screw and the opposite fixed stud of the frame area brought in contact. How these two things brought into contact? This one and this one brought into contact using this ratchet. If the zero of the head scale coincide with the pitch scale axis, there is no zero error. Like this, both the zeros should match each other, so there is no zero error. When the movable stud of the screw and the opposite fixed stud on the frame are brought in contact, if the zero of the head scale lies below the pitch scale, zero of the head scale lies below the, this is pitch scale, line is pitch scale, the circle is head scale. Okay, below the pitch scale axis, the zero error is there and it is known as positive zero error. So here the positive zero error is 2 points, but in your textbook it is 5. In your textbook they have shown 5. See the negative zero error. When the plane surface of the screw and the opposite plane stud on the frame are brought in contact, if the zero of the head scale lies above the zero of the pitch scale axis, the zero error is negative. Okay. So the zero corrections, to find out the zero error and zero corrections, has been shown in the book. Next we need to move on to the next section, 1.8, measuring mass. We commonly use the term weight, which is actually the mass. Many things are measured in terms of mass in the commercial world. The SI unit of mass is kilogram. In any case, the units are based on the item purchased. For example, we buy gold in grams or milligrams, medicines in milligrams, provisions in grams and kilograms, and express cargoes in tons. Can we use the same instrument for measuring the above listed items? Different measuring devices have to be used for items of smaller and larger masses. So in this section we will study about some of the instruments used for measuring mass. First they have shown the common balance as I have shown in the picture. A beam balance compare the sample mass with the standard reference mass. So this is known as beam balance. It is also another balance. It is not a digital balance. See the numbers and arrow mark shows this is an analog balance. This is a digital balance. Nowadays for accuracy, to measure accurate measurements, digital balance are used which measure mass accurately even up to a few milligrams, the least value being 10 milligram. This electrical device is easy to handle and commonly used in jewelry shops and labs. So this is nothing but physical balance. You show the picture to your mom. In her early age, the gold will be measured using this physical balance. This physical balance is used in labs and in similar to the beam balance, but it is a lot more sensitive and can measure mass of an object correct to a milligram. The standard reference masses used in this physical balance are 10 milligram, 20 milligram, 50 milligram, 100 milligram, 200 milligram, 500 milligram, and up to it goes up to 200 grams. So this is spring balance. This balance helps us to find the weight of an object. It consists of a spring fixed at one end and a hook attached to a rod at the other end. It works by Hooke's law, which states that the addition of weight produces a proportional increase in the length of the spring. A pointer is attached to the rod which slides over a graduated scale on the front. The spring extends according to the weight attached to the hook and the pointer reads the weight of the object to the scale. So let's know the difference between mass and weight. It is a very important question. Mass, it is a fundamental quantity. Weight is a derived quantity. Mass has magnitude alone, so it is a scalar quantity. But weight has magnitude and direction because it acts with respect to the gravity. So it is a vector quantity. Mass is the amount of matter contained in a body. Weight is it is a normal force exerted by the surface on the object against gravitational pull. Mass remains the same everywhere, but weight varies from place to place. Mass is measured using physical balance, but weight is measured using spring balance. Unit for mass is kilogram. Unit for weight is Newton. So we have to know about the accuracy in measurement. When measuring physical quantities, accuracy is important. Accuracy represents how close a measurement comes to a true value. Accuracy in measurement is center in engineering, physics and all branches of science. It is also important in our daily life. You might have seen in jewelry shops how accurately they measure gold. What will happen if little more salt is added to food while cooking? So it is important to be accurate when taking measurements. So up to this I would like to wind up the lesson. I hope you all enjoyed today's lesson. I catch you with the answers of the first unit in the next video. Thank you girls. God bless you.